talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here for a little bit. Got some great Bucs news for you guys out there. Of course, this is a Tampa Bay team that's kind of going under the radar despite having a lot of quality returning players, despite some departures on the coaching staff. That staff is very solid, of course, and a very winnable division that the Buccaneers proved last season. Got a playoff win out of it as well. But if you look at the Buccaneers and if they can take the next step in 2024, it's going to be on the new additions, specifically the rookies stepping up and having a huge impact. And there's one Buccaneers rookie where the coaches are really impressed with it. They're throwing a lot on him, giving him a really baptism by fire, and he's impressing everyone. Let's pull up this report, then we can talk about it more in detail on the other side. This is courtesy of SI.com. Former Duke Blue Devil and offensive lineman Graham Barton was seen as one of the more versatile offensive linemen of the 2024 NFL Draft before being drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, having played both center and left tackle in college. He was seen as arguably the top interior offensive lineman in the draft, despite not playing center since 2020. The Buccaneers had a major hole at center following the retirement of Ryan Jensen this offseason. Jensen missed the entire regular season in 2022 and 2023 with knee injuries, but did play in Tampa's wildcard loss to the Dallas Cowboys following the 2022 regular season. And Barton is ready to fill that void immediately. He's getting prepared by enduring a, quote, heavy load at the center position and getting what head coach Todd Bowles calls a good baptism. Okay, so that's what that's saying right there is Bowles and the Bucs coaching staff, they're throwing a lot on Barton so far, and he's handling it very well. He's impressing them as he gets ready to be their day one starting center. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, but first, Buccaneers fans, in the comment section below, we're talking offensive linemen, we're talking interior offensive linemen, centers or guards. Give us your favorite Bucs center or guard of all time. There's a lot of interesting names. Jensen may be at the top of that list, who knows? But give us your favorite Buccaneers guard or center and put them in the comment section below. And while you're down there, make sure you check out the description box below for a list of our recommended NFL reading for some great summer reading for you guys out there. Check out these books. There's some autobiographies. There's some deep dives. Highly recommend. Check them out so you can be the smartest person in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this latest Buccaneers news.
Yeah, Nick, entendres at the end of the article aside, I think this is really great news for the Buccaneers here because when I always heard this, adage about offensive line, where if you have three solid offensive linemen, usually talking about a guard, tackle, center, or two tackles and a center, you can really cover up a lot of deficiencies on an offensive line. But once you don't have three, if you only have two good guys on this offensive line, it really becomes a sieve, and people are able to break through. It really is very difficult to play football at that point. And with the departure of Jensen, it was kind of feeling potentially that way for the Bucs. They had not found anyone to replace him yet. Opeta at the left guard really just seems okay. Hainsey, who was going to be the center before they get Barton, really just seemed so-so. And Mock is young. He has a lot of potential, but he's very raw. So I think he has a little bit of time to grow, but I think he could potentially become a good player for this Bucs team as well. Enter in Graham Barton, and, I do believe that he is set to play right away. This guy is very smart. He's very technical and just a really good football player. I like that Todd Bowles is excited about them because now what it does is it gives immediately this Bucs offensive line three solid players. You got Gadecki at the right tackle, who's good. Wirfs at the left tackle, who's incredible. Then Barton in the middle of the field, who's going to shore this thing up. Then with the growth of a guy like Cody Mock, I think eventually you're going to have four pretty good offensive linemen. So this team is going to look way different than they did last year, potentially on the offensive line. And I'm thinking could possibly be even in a better sense of that line as well. So I think this is a really good sign for the Bucs. I'm happy for Baker Mayfield. He's going to get some good protection, don't have to worry too much. And I think Graham Barton is going to be one heck of a player for this team.
Look, when you look at Graham Barton's NFL.com, which I think they've got the best scouting profile in terms of keeping it simple, his very first sentence tells you all you need to know about this prospect. Again, this is from NFL.com. Reviewing Barton's tape is a pleasurable experience in offensive line evaluation as his tenacity and know-how are on full display throughout. All right, what does that mean? It means this guy's a competitor, he's tough, he's physical, and he's smart. You'd expect that from a Duke guy, but sometimes you don't know. This is why Todd Bowles, this is why the Buccaneers coaching staff, their offensive coaching staff, they're throwing everything at this kid. And so far, he's responding at a high level. He's going to be their day one starter. He's smart enough. He's competitive enough. He's tough enough. He's talented enough to go in there day one and be the captain, the quarterback of the offensive line at the center position is known to be. And that's a lot to put on a young player, of course, but Barton's a guy who's handling it, right? And one of the things people kind of just assume is that maybe young players can't. In a lot of cases, that's due to inexperience. But if you have raw intellectual horsepower, which Barton, obviously does, he doesn't need experience. He can go out there and handle it. And I also love his positional versatility that he showed. He played a lot of tackle in college. That means he understands the game more than just the context of the center position. He understands what tackles are thinking, their general calls, what guards are thinking, their general calls. Because it's important to understand, just like any offense in football, whether it's college or NFL, the calls an offensive lineman makes and the strategies, it may change the verbiage from team to team, from school to school if you're talking college, but the general concepts are the same. Do you fan out? Do you call it different than a fan? Do you slide down? Do you, different things like that in terms of what you do technique-wise? There may be different verbiages, there may be different ways to communicate it, but the techniques, the principles are all the same. And the fact that Barton is smart enough to understand that, it's a great sign. The Bucs coaching staff recognizes that as well. But the fact that he played a lot of these other positions shows that he'll be able to make the calls that he needs to make at the center position for Tampa Bay, knowing full well what the Gedekes and the Wirfs and the Mocks are going to have to do responding to his calls. This kid from Duke, Barton, I think he's going to be a critical piece of this Tampa Bay offensive line, and I think this will go down as one of the smarter, under-the-radar draft picks the Buccaneers have made in a very long time.